Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to talk about Season 7 of Classic Doctor Who, as I am almost 100% certain that's going to be the next box set at this point. I'm like 99% certain. We're at that point where I think we're just waiting for the official confirmation, because for a lot of the releases, the fandom, we've had a pretty good idea what the next one's going to be. We're usually right about that at a certain point. We know, hey, Season 9's next. Hey, Season 20's next. Of course, we thought Season 20 was going to be next for a while. But we also know it got moved around in the schedule because of the coof. You know, we knew when 15 was coming. I mean, we figured it'd be 15 or 16, but we kind of figured 15. A lot of times, we're pretty locked in on which one's going to be next before, you know, at least a little bit before we get the official announcement. And I'm certain it's going to be 7 at this point. With them doing the war games, especially adding or colorizing the war games, and with them adding in confession dials, regeneration scene, basically to lead right into Spearhead from Space would be the perfect time to drop the trailer. Also, keep in mind that January will be Season 7's 55th anniversary. That's something I keep forgetting about. Its 55th anniversary will be in January, like the 3rd, the 4th, something like that. So I think they'll want to do the announcement for the 55th anniversary of it. Because keep in mind, Season 8 came out in its 50th anniversary, and the Master's 50th anniversary. So that would be the perfect time to announce it for the 55th anniversary. We're due a Pertwee as well. They seem to alternate years between Tom and John now, with us getting Season 9 in spring of 2023. And so it's time for another John. We're right there in our cycle of the way things have been going for another John. And we know restoration work has been done on Ambassadors and Silurians. I think we've seen pictures of those, especially from Silurians. We've seen pictures of those online. So we know the restoration work's been done on that. Plus we had, I can't remember if it was Peter Crocker or Richard Bingdell. One of them, when they got their Season 25 box set in, they were holding it up, and they were holding it in front of their computer screen, and the computer screen was a tease for the next box set, because I guess he thought nobody'd figure out what it was, but people were able to see the little production code. I think it was a camera script or something, or a script, and people noticed the code, and apparently it's a code for Inferno, like it's a code for the script for the first part of Inferno, and people figured that out, and people kept going, up, it's Inferno, and then, again, I can't remember if it was Peter or Richard, they took the picture down. They deleted the tweet, which gives credence to that. That, more than anything, is what confirms to me that 7 is next. I'm excited about that. I love Season 7. I think it's a strong season. I think Season 7 and 10 are Pertwee's two best, and of course we got Season 10 as the first Pertwee set. I love Inferno. Most of you guys know that. It's one of my favorite Doctor Who stories of all time. I like Spearhead in Space a lot as well. I like Silurians. It drags a little at 7 parts. It does. And it definitely needs that restoration work. And also with some of the subject matter with Silurians it might hit a little differently in a post-COVID world, to be honest, for some people. But I still enjoy it. It's just a tad long. Ambassadors of Death kind of has that same problem. It's a tad long. Not as bad as I think it used to be to me, where I used to think it was just a 4-parter crammed into 7 parts. I think you could do it in 5 or 6 parts. I don't think it needed to be 7 parts. And it's a phenomenally good story. I absolutely love Ambassadors of Death. I mean, it's friendly aliens. The aliens aren't the bad guys. They're good guys. It's some of the humans that are the bad guys. Plus, I just love some of the scenes in it, like the shootout unit has early on in the story, when they're in like a warehouse having a little battle scene. It's a really cool battle scene. Also, really looking forward to seeing what they do with the restoration work on it, considering Episode 1 is the original Master. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of that, but Episode 1 of Ambassadors of Death is actually the original Master. As a matter of fact, it's the earliest surviving original Doctor Who video master tape, the earliest surviving one. But of course, the rest of the story, the other 6 episodes, look poor. They look rough. They're not the original Masters. So that's a little sad. Plus, I'm curious to see if they're going to do anything else with Spearhead or just kind of leave it the way it is. Spearhead looks phenomenally good since it was shot on film, and we already have a Blu-ray release of it. I have it back here. It already looks good. I don't really think you need to do anything with it. I'm curious if they will, but I don't think it needs it. And I'm curious what special features they would add on that. I've already talked in another video about kind of the stuff I'd like to see. I do believe we're getting an in conversation with John Levine. I mentioned that in I think yesterday's video that someone posted on the merchandise forum that John Levine had mentioned he had filmed it in conversation and that he thought the box set was coming out next month. More than likely that means an announcement. I suspect we'll either get the announcement at the end of December, probably right around when War Games airs on the 23rd, or sometimes in early to mid-January. I'm really excited about that. I'd like an in conversation with John Levine. John Levine strikes me as quite the character. I've never actually watched Living with Levine. I need to do that. And it would be nice to have another one on the shelf. We don't have really much pre-season 8 at this point. I'm always happy to get another Pertwee. Pertwee's one of my favorite eras of the show. I love 70s Doctor Who. I really want to see the restoration work because one of my big gripes with Silurians and Ambassadors is just that it looks rough. Kind of like comparing the original release of Inferno with the special edition of Inferno, which is the technique I think they're also using for the Blu-ray, the technique they used on the special edition of Inferno. And the special edition of Inferno just looks so much better than the original version of Inferno. I don't know if they'll do any tweaking with Inferno since they've already kind of done that combination setup for the special edition. I'm sure they'll do a little bit. I don't know quite how much restoration work it'll get for the Blu-ray. I'm curious to see because, again, I love Inferno. But, yeah, I am very certain that Season 7 is going to be the next one. The colors that Lee Binding teased, where the little swatch he does, I love when he does that, with the green on it and the kind of orange-red, really fits Season 7. I mean, to be honest, that also fits Season 13. But I really think it fits Season 7, especially Inferno. And Lee did tease that the front cover, there's a moment from episode 4, he doesn't say what story, but episode 4 of a story, that when you see the front cover, you'll be like, I see what he did. That he's specifically calling out one moment in a 4th episode. Of course, the only story that season where the 4th episode is the final episode is Spearhead. The others 3, of course, are 7-parters. And I'm racking my brain for episode 4 of Inferno going, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? I need to rewatch episode 4 of Inferno. Just episode 4. But the green, of course, really matches the slime, the little ooze that comes out in Inferno that gets in the jar. I think that matches that. The red, the kind of red-orange, I think matches the parallel Earth when it's starting to get destroyed when they're outside and it's close to just destroying itself when it looks all orange and red. I really think that fits for that. And there's a plethora of enemies you can have on that cover, as I've talked about before. You have got to have the brigade leader. You've got to have the Inferno Brigadier, the parallel one with the eye patch and the scar. That's just so iconic. Lee Binding, you have to put the brigade leader on the Inferno cover, or on the Season 7 cover, and you have to. That's just iconic. I'd like to have one of the Primoids, or whatever they're called, the werewolves from Inferno on there would be nice. Ambassadors of Death, you have the astronauts reaching out. I'd have like a couple of them reaching. That would be cool. Such a creepy image. I love artwork from Ambassadors of Death because it just looks so creepy with them doing that. Of course, you need a Silurian on there for Silurians. And then you got to have one of the Autons from Spearhead. You could have not only one of the plastic Autons, like the ones that break out of the windows, but you could also have that one guy who's kind of the head Auton, the one that never blinks. You just know there's something off with him. My hat's off to the actor. You could have him on there too. So there's plenty of choices for enemies on there. I really think, again, the colors Lee tease is perfect for that season. Really, have a volcano erupting in the background would be cool. From the, I always like when classic Doctor Who experimented with those one-off title cards, like they use in Inferno. With the lava and everything. I would love to see that in the background of the Season 7 with the lava and everything erupting. That would be so cool. I am really excited. But I am very certain I'm calling my pick for the next one to be Season 7. I think we get an announcement somewhere between the end of December and the middle of January with a March or April release. because I'm trying to remember the financial year for the BBC. I think their financial year goes from either May to April or June to May. I forget exactly. And they like to do 2 in a financial year. So this would technically be the second one for their financial year, with 25 being the first one. If I'm right on that, I think I'm right on that. So I think we'll see it in March or April. Super excited about it. I really hope we get an in conversation with Sean, with John's son, Sean Pertwee. I would love an in conversation with Sean Pertwee, talking about his dad, talking about growing up with Doctor Who, his thoughts when he was little and Doctor Who was on the show, and then maybe even Sean's own stuff. You know, I would love to hear Sean Pertwee talk about working on Event Horizon, because Event Horizon is such a cool movie. Love that movie. Freaky. Truly scary movie. I would love to hear him talk about working on Gotham and his career, and I would love to hear him talk about his thoughts on reprising the Third Doctor and why he would either be for it or against it, because I do think he's a bit reluctant to do that. And maybe open up about the one time he was approached. I think back during Series 9, when he was busy working on Gotham, he had been approached about coming back to Doctor Who for something. He's never really elaborated. A lot of us think that maybe he was they were going to get him to appear in that little bit in The Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, back when Missy is telling Clara about that time the Doctor escaped in that flashback that's in black and white. Maybe the flashback would have been the Third Doctor doing it. There's always rumors that that was talked about. That's a fascinating idea. And whether or not Sean could be persuaded to come back as the Third Doctor if the script was right, I would love an interview with Sean Pertwee, an in-conversation. Whether it's an in-conversation or during a tribute to John, if they do a tribute video to John, I just would love to hear more from Sean Pertwee on that. So that's where I'm at. I'm very excited about the colorized version of the Daleks. This is the perfect lead-in to the Season 7 box set coming. Again, Season 7's 55th anniversary in early January. Perfect time to drop the trailer for it. And it's usually regarded, I think, by most fans as one of the best seasons of the show. Arguably Pertwee's strongest season. Definitely the most adult season. Season 7 is a very adult season, even more so than the rest of the Pertwee era, where the unit feels like a military group, whereas in later seasons they feel more like a family. Like Season 8 unit feels more like a family, whereas Season 7 they very much feel like a specialized military force. And I love the rest of the Pertwee era. I love the Pertwee era. I mean, objectively, the Pertwee era is probably the best era the show ever had when it comes to quality stories, even more so than Tom's era. 70s Who is so good. But I'm super fired up and excited about it. So, Season 7 coming next. What do you think? Do you think I'm right on that? Are you excited about it? What are the little hints there that got you going? Season 7. Comment down below. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. A link to my Amazon wish list is down there. A link to my Amazon UK wish list is down there. I also have a P.O. box down there. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, I very much love my Doctor Who physical media and shelves. I have more of it here out of camera range, so I love getting stuff in and reviewing it. If there's anything you want to send, definitely trying to get some more Region 2 DVDs. I have a Region 2 player, and plus they just look good on the shelf. So if you have any extras, or if you're just looking to get rid of some of your Region 2 DVDs and want them to go to a happy home, send them on over. I'd love to have them. I want to give a shout out to a couple of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney and Sam Venning. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons and my YouTube members. It's very much appreciated. Most importantly, thank you for watching.